In the soft, lingering glow of twilight, Paris begins to breathe. Its cobblestone streets hum quietly under the footsteps of those who have walked here for centuries. Lamps flicker like distant stars, and the Seine whispers secrets only the city can understand. In the hush between day and night, we can begin to wander through the lives of people long gone, their joys, their sorrows, and their simple, quiet routines. Tonight, let us drift together through the heartbeat of 19th century Paris, where history is not just dates and events, but the gentle rhythm of everyday life. Let your thoughts slow, your mind soften, and your curiosity settle like a gentle breeze upon your mind. If these words carry you closer to sleep, let this channel stay by your side too, and together we will drift gently through the lives of those who shaped and were shaped by this luminous city. The first hints of dawn caress the rooftops of Paris, painting them in soft strokes of rose and amber, as if the sky itself were stretching and yawning after a long night. From the quiet corners of narrow streets, the city exhales slowly, its breath warm and tender, carrying the faint scent of damp cobblestones and morning dew. In these earliest hours, Paris is a city of gentle murmurs, not of hurried footsteps or loud proclamations. It is a city awakening, but in a rhythm that encourages you to linger, to notice, and to breathe. Along the banks of the Seine, the water shimmers with a subtle, silver light, reflecting the awakening facades of buildings that lean like old friends over the river. Boatmen loosen the ropes of their vessels, their movements slow and deliberate, a quiet choreography rehearsed for decades. Seagulls glide softly over the surface, their wings skimming the water in whispers rather than cries. In these moments, the river feels almost like a mirror, not only of the city above, but of the lives being tenderly threaded through its currents. Each ripple tells a story, and if we listen closely, the city seems to murmur the histories of its people, like secrets shared only with those who walk slowly enough to hear. Beneath these lofty views, the streets themselves are coming to life. Bakers pull freshly baked loaves from wood-fired ovens, the aroma of bread curling upward in warm, golden ribbons. It is a smell that touches the heart as much as the senses, a quiet promise that the day will provide sustenance, not just for the body, but for the soul. Women sweep the thresholds of their modest homes, moving with rhythmic grace, brushing away the dust of the night while welcoming the gentle light of dawn. Their actions are small, almost invisible to the unobservant eye, but in the gentle repetition lies a kind of quiet poetry, a testament to care and attentiveness that has held the city together for generations. Children appear, their laughter delicate and light, bouncing off the river and walls like soft bells. Some chase each other in tiny bursts of energy, while others pause to watch the slow, careful preparation of the day. Their curiosity is innocent, unhurried, a reflection of a time when play was an art form, embedded into the very fabric of daily life. Their eyes glimmer with wonder, noticing details that adults often miss. The shimmer of a puddle, the way sunlight scatters through a window, the gentle sway of a rope ladder in a boat tethered to the quay. And as their small feet tap along the cobblestones, the city seems to join them in a quiet celebration, a gentle acknowledgement that each morning holds the possibility of discovery, however fleeting. Alongside these moments of domestic intimacy, life in the city hums with the understated rhythm of commerce. Market stalls are arranged carefully along the streets, early vendors setting out baskets of fruits, cheeses, and fresh herbs. The call of the seller is soft, inviting rather than commanding, a voice that floats like music through the morning air. Patrons wander slowly, pausing to inhale the fragrance of lavender, to feel the smooth surface of a polished apple, to exchange a soft smile with a neighbor. There is no urgency here, only a quiet orchestration of lives intersecting, of human connections unfolding in the tender hours before the city fully awakens. Even as the sunlight begins to strengthen, painting the facades of Parisian buildings in warm, golden light, there is an enduring softness to the day. It is a Paris not of grand boulevards or roaring crowds, but of intimate streets, of the gentle music of ordinary routines, of the understated grace of a city in harmony with its own rhythm. In these hours, the extraordinary is not in wealth or spectacle, but in the quiet dignity of lives carefully lived, in small gestures of care, and in the whisper of existence itself. And so, as the morning stretches forward, the city continues its quiet ascent into life, each soul contributing to the soft symphony of Paris waking. If we pause, if we linger just a moment longer, we begin to sense that history is not only in grand events or battles fought, but in these delicate, repeated rituals, the shared smiles, the bread breaking, the laughter of children along the Seine. It is here, in the tender unfolding of everyday life, that the heart of Paris truly beats. And as the sun climbs higher and the city shifts into a livelier pace, we pause ourselves, letting the gentle beauty of these first hours sink deep into our awareness, like a quiet lullaby for the mind and soul. And so, as the morning glows fully upon the city, our journey along the Seine prepares to continue, carrying us into the marketplace and the quiet symphonies of daily life, where every smell, sound, and sight is a note in the poem of 19th century Paris. The morning deepens, and Paris begins to hum more insistently, though still in its tender, careful rhythm. The streets, narrow and worn smooth by countless footsteps over decades, are now sprinkled with the soft shuffle of laborers heading to their trades. Cobblers move quietly into their workshops, hammers tapping with gentle persistence against leather that will become shoes. The faint smell of tanned hides mingles with the lingering sweetness of freshly baked bread, forming a subtle perfume of human diligence and everyday life. Every sound, every motion, feels deliberate, a careful choreography woven into the fabric of the city, as though Paris itself has learned the art of moving slowly while remaining alive. The cafés begin to stir. Wooden chairs scrape softly against stone, and the faint clinking of cups reaches the ears like a delicate chime. Patrons arrive in pairs or alone, settling into the morning with a quiet reverence for coffee and conversation alike. Here, a poet bends over a notebook, tracing thoughts with careful patience. There, a clerk studies ledgers, counting the minutes as though each one were a precious, fleeting jewel. The aroma of roasted coffee beans drifts outward, mingling with the sunlight, as if encouraging the city to wake fully but with calm and awareness. Life in Paris is rarely abrupt. It is an unfolding, measured, poetic ascent from stillness into activity. Children wander between the cafés and the markets, curiosity carrying them as lightly as the soft wind over the Seine. They watch the bakers fold dough, marvel at the shimmer of polished fruits, or stand silently by the river, toes nearly touching the water, fascinated by its endless motion. Their laughter is no longer just playful. It is contemplative, a reflection of the rhythm of a city that nurtures wonder as much as work. Parents observe with gentle smiles, their eyes carrying the weight of quiet care and unspoken stories, knowing that in this early morning world, every small gesture, the sweep of a broom, the passing of a loaf, the careful tying of a ribbon, connects lives invisibly like threads in a vast, unseen tapestry. Alongside these intimate moments, the city hums with the softer undertones of commerce and industry. Horse-drawn carts rattle lightly over the cobblestones, their wheels leaving a soft echo in the quiet streets. Laborers unload sacks of flour or crates of vegetables, moving slowly but with purpose, their muscles remembering the patterns of work carved over years. Street vendors, less hurried than they will be by noon, arrange their offerings with care, stacks of apples, bundles of herbs, fresh fish glistening in morning light. A gentle murmur of greetings passes between neighbors, not loud enough to disturb the calm, but enough to stitch together the human fabric of the city. In these interactions, Paris reveals its secret, that the extraordinary life of a city is not only in monuments or politics, but in the poetry of ordinary hours, in the subtle grace of routine performed with care. The sunlight filters higher now, scattering over the roofs and streets, catching on windows and puddles, casting long, soft shadows. These shadows stretch and bend like quiet companions to the early risers, accompanying them as they move through their days. In the quiet corners of alleyways, the faint scent of smoke from kitchen fires mingles with flowers from hidden gardens, hinting at lives unfolding behind closed doors. Here, a seamstress measures fabric with delicate precision. There, a young apprentice polishes brass instruments, eyes soft and focused, fingers moving in a quiet rhythm taught by countless mornings before. Every action, though small, is imbued with patience and intentionality, a reflection of a city that takes its time to breathe, to exist, to live fully in the gentle cadence of its own heartbeat. And so the morning reaches its gentle crescendo, not loud, not insistent, but full of quiet presence. Paris in these hours is neither grand nor theatrical. It is intimate, tactile, alive in ways that are felt rather than loudly declared. The river glimmers with every movement of a boat, a leaf, or a ripple caused by a passerby's foot. Laughter, conversation, and the faint murmur of labor float together like a soft melody, and one could almost close their eyes and let the city itself lull them into contemplation. The beauty of Paris in the morning is not in its architecture, nor its cafés, nor its markets, but in the rhythm of life itself, patient, gentle, enduring, and profoundly human. And as the morning slowly bends toward noon, we leave behind the soft awakening of the city along the Seine, carrying with us the memory of bread rising, children laughing, and the tender symphony of human lives moving in quiet harmony. And so, as the sunlight strengthens and the marketplace begins its louder rhythm, our journey prepares to follow the gentle pulse of commerce, conversation, and connection, the heartbeat of Paris that carries its people forward through the day. The city now hums with a fuller, yet still tender, energy. The narrow streets, once whispered with the soft shuffle of early risers, now carry the delicate chorus of footsteps, wheels on cobblestones, and voices murmuring in quiet dialogue. Each sound is like a soft note in a vast symphony, careful not to overwhelm, but to invite attention to the beauty of ordinary life. A horse-drawn cart passes slowly, its wooden wheels leaving gentle imprints in the dust, while the faint clatter of hooves reminds the city that motion, even in routine, can be graceful. In the marketplace, the rhythm of life swells with a gentle pulse. Merchants arrange their fruits and vegetables with a care that borders on artistry, each apple, carrot, or bundle of herbs positioned as if it were part of a painting. The aroma of fresh bread mixes with herbs, roasted coffee, and the distant scent of smoke from a blacksmith's forge, creating a mosaic of sensory impressions that is uniquely Paris. Children weave between stalls, their hands brushing against the produce, their laughter carrying like wind through the alleyways, soft yet persistent, reminding every passerby of life's quiet joys. There is no rush, only movement suffused with intention, as each person's presence becomes part of a shared, unspoken rhythm. Cafés spill their warmth onto the streets. Gentle conversations, soft chuckles, and the clink of porcelain cups blend seamlessly into the surrounding hum. Patrons linger over coffee, their gazes thoughtful, as if each sip is a small meditation on the day ahead. Poets sketch quietly in notebooks, capturing the fleeting moments of human connection, while clerks and artisans observe the daily flow, recording transactions with steady hands. Every gesture feels delicate, weighted with purpose, yet lightened by an air of calm reflection. It is in this delicate balance of movement and stillness that Paris becomes more than a city. It becomes a living story, unfolding patiently with each heartbeat of its people. Along the narrow avenues, women carrying baskets move slowly, exchanging soft greetings and tender smiles. Their eyes catch the morning light, glinting with stories of endurance, love, and hope. Laundry sways gently on lines strung between buildings, its colors muted yet comforting, a visual lullaby for the waking city. From above, the rooftops catch the sunlight in warm golds and soft ambers, stretching shadows across the streets below, giving depth and dimension to a city that thrives quietly, elegantly in the details. Even the air feels alive, infused with warmth, subtle movement, and a soft energy that encourages observation, reflection, and calm. Children continue to explore, sometimes stopping to watch a seamstress stitch, a blacksmith hammer a small piece of metal, or a painter brush soft strokes on canvas. Each tiny act becomes a story unto itself, a quiet reminder that life is composed not only of monumental events, but of countless small actions imbued with care and attention. Parents observe, their faces serene yet alert, aware that these early hours hold lessons in patience, observation, and the unfolding beauty of daily existence. Every glance, every gesture becomes a thread in the fabric of the city, weaving together human lives into a tapestry that is as delicate as it is enduring. And as mid-morning stretches forward, the city begins to thrum more confidently, yet never harshly. The cobblestones, polished smooth by centuries of footsteps, reflect the light in soft glimmers. The Seine, gliding gently past, mirrors the life upon its banks, capturing the subtle interplay of sun, shadow, and movement. Here in this tender rhythm, the extraordinary is quiet, understated, and profoundly human. It is the elegance of ordinary actions performed with care, the poetry of life that does not shout but whispers, drawing the observer into a world both tangible and dreamlike. And so, as Paris continues to awaken fully, we pause with it, inhaling the scents, the sounds, and the soft beauty of a city rising. The morning, full yet gentle, begins to hint at the bustle to come. The interwoven lives, the marketplaces, the courtyards, and the countless small dramas that unfold as the city settles into the day. And so, as the sunlight warms the streets more insistently, we move quietly toward the heart of daily life, ready to witness the city's mid-morning symphony, where routine and wonder dance together with the softest elegance. By late morning, Paris has fully unfolded, yet remains gentle in its energy, like a soft breath drawn after a long exhale. The streets hum with a rhythm that is both purposeful and soothing, a cadence of lives interwoven, of footsteps, voices, and the subtle rolling of cart wheels across worn cobblestones. Sunlight spills over the rooftops, warming the facades of buildings, illuminating their soft pastels and earthy tones, and scattering faint shadows that stretch lazily across doorways and windowsills. Every corner holds a small story, every doorway a secret, and the city moves with a tender patience, inviting us to slow our own hearts to its pace. In the marketplaces, the gentle crescendo of activity continues. Merchants call softly to one another, exchanging words of trade and warmth. The smell of fresh bread mingles with the faint tang of river air, the sweetness of apples, and the herbaceous notes of freshly gathered parsley and thyme. Stalls of fabrics catch the light, the soft shimmer of silks and wool reflecting quiet artistry. Patrons move slowly, pausing to examine the goods, their gestures careful, deliberate, reverent. There is a rhythm here, an unspoken choreography that balances motion with stillness, commerce with connection, and necessity with wonder. Children, now more daring, weave between the legs of shoppers, their eyes wide with curiosity. Some chase after a stray cat that darts between stalls. Others pause to watch a craftsman shaping wood or hammering metal. Their laughter rings softly, blending with the gentle chatter of vendors, forming a delicate music that carries through the narrow streets. In these moments, one begins to understand the intimacy of daily life in Paris. How ordinary moments, when lived fully and observed tenderly, acquire a kind of quiet poetry, echoing softly long after the laughter fades. Along the quieter streets and hidden alleys, women move with practiced grace. Baskets balanced carefully on their arms, they carry fresh goods home, greeting neighbors with murmured pleasantries. Their lives are composed of countless small gestures, brushing dust from doorsteps, arranging flowers in window boxes, tying scarves around children's necks. Each act is a quiet testament to care, a subtle insistence on beauty and dignity in the midst of routine. In these gestures, Paris teaches a gentle lesson, that life's significance is often found not in grandeur, but in the tenderness of attention given to the smallest details. The cafés now fill more fully, the soft clinking of cups and murmured conversation blending into a comforting symphony. Gentle debates, the reading of letters, and the sketching of thoughts in journals form a rhythm as constant as the flow of the Seine itself. Patrons linger over breakfast, savoring the warmth of coffee or tea, letting the day begin slowly, fully, and intentionally. The city in these hours feels as if it is exhaling, a soft, prolonged breath that carries the past and present together, reminding all who walk its streets that life, in its most profound form, is lived in quiet presence, in small, mindful actions, and in shared humanity. Even the architecture participates in this gentle rhythm. Balconies stretch outward, their wrought iron curling like the delicate strokes of an artist. Windows frame glimpses of life inside. A mother rocking a cradle, a seamstress adjusting her patterns, a young man reading in soft lamplight. Every detail is a note in a subtle composition, each element contributing to the overall cadence of Parisian life, a city alive not with noise or chaos, but with attentive, careful motion. And as the late morning bends toward noon, the sunlight grows warmer, softer, filling the streets with a comforting glow. The river mirrors this light, reflecting the city's gentle pulse, ripples carrying both shadow and shimmer. In this quiet bustle, one begins to feel the heartbeat of Paris, not in the monumental events of history, but in the tender, ordinary acts of daily life, in the rhythm of work and play, care and curiosity, observation and wonder. And so, as the city moves slowly toward the afternoon, with markets alive and streets breathing their soft, persistent energy, we pause with it, letting the warmth of the late morning settle like a lullaby over our senses. And so, as the river continues its quiet journey through the heart of Paris, we prepare to follow the city into the softer shadows of its courtyards, where afternoons unfold in gentle, intimate patterns, and where life whispers its stories with calm persistence. As the sun drifts toward its zenith, the streets of Paris soften under its warm gaze. The earlier bustle of morning, full of motion and subtle excitement, begins to settle into a gentler rhythm, like waves easing onto the shore after a tide. Shadows lengthen slightly, stretching lazily across the cobblestones, and the air carries a tempered warmth, mingling with the delicate scent of bread, flowers, and the faint tang of river water. In this calm, the city reveals a quieter heartbeat, one that encourages pause, observation, and the gentle reflection of life unfolding. In the courtyards tucked behind narrow streets, life moves with serene intimacy. Children retreat from the busier avenues, their laughter now softer, mingling with the occasional clatter of a gate or the faint rustle of leaves. Women tend to small gardens, adjusting flower pots, brushing the dust from steps, or arranging fresh linens. Their movements are quiet, meditative almost, a dance of care that transforms ordinary tasks into acts of enduring beauty. Even in these small gestures, there's a profound poetry, a rhythm that mirrors the pulse of the city itself. From the cafés and workshops, the sounds of soft labor and gentle conversation drift into the courtyards. Seamstresses hum quietly as they stitch, artisans polish tools with rhythmic care, and scholars pause over books with a contemplative reverence. Every sound is a note in the subtle symphony of daily life, neither loud nor urgent, but persistent and full of understated grace. In these moments, one begins to understand that Paris in the 19th century was not only a city of grandeur, of art and architecture, but a city of intimate rituals, human warmth, and shared experience. Along the Seine, boats float lazily under the midday sun, their movement mirrored in the gentle shimmer of the river. Vendors pause to rest, leaning against carts or conversing softly, while pedestrians linger to admire the delicate play of light on water. Children toss small pebbles into the rippling current, eyes wide with fascination at the tiny waves spreading outward. Every gesture is imbued with curiosity, patience, and wonder, reminding us that history is not solely composed of grand events, but of small, tender moments lived fully and attentively. Even the architecture seems to sigh under the sun's embrace. Tall windows and wrought iron balconies frame glimpses of domestic life. A young mother rocking her infant, a scholar tracing letters on parchment, a painter capturing the shifting patterns of light on walls. These glimpses, though fleeting, speak to the intimate rhythm of the city, a rhythm built upon centuries of care, labor, and observation. Paris in these hours feels suspended, neither hurried nor idle, but balanced delicately between action and stillness, between the weight of history and the lightness of daily existence. And as the afternoon approaches, the warmth of the sun invites reflection. We pause with the city, feeling the quiet energy of lives unfolding gently, intimately. The rhythm of footsteps, the faint clatter of carts, the soft rustle of leaves, and the whisper of the river become a lullaby, a gentle accompaniment to our journey through 19th century Paris. It is here, in these calm, tender moments, that the city's heart is most visible, patient, observant, alive in ways that are subtle yet enduring, ordinary yet extraordinary. And so, as the early afternoon casts its soft glow over courtyards, streets, and riverbanks, our morning journey along the Seine comes to a reflective pause. We carry with us the scents, the sounds, and the tender motions of lives intertwined, knowing that the city's story continues in the quiet poetry of every gesture, every glance, every ripple in the water. And so, as the light begins to shift, we prepare to move with Paris into the mid-afternoon, where courtyards and hidden corners reveal their stories in whispers and shadows, guiding us gently forward. As the morning drifts fully into mid-morning, the city of Paris hums with a quiet, persistent energy. The streets are no longer empty, yet the bustle carries a rhythm gentle enough to soothe the mind, a cadence that invites observation rather than haste. Market stalls begin to appear along the avenues, each one a small stage for the subtle poetry of everyday life. Baskets of fruit, vegetables, herbs, and flowers are arranged with careful thought, their colors soft yet vivid under the warm sunlight. The aromas mingle, forming a delicate perfume that drifts through the streets, touching every passerby with reminders of nourishment, warmth, and home. Merchants move with slow precision, their hands deftly arranging goods, their voices soft and measured, offering their wares in gentle invitations rather than urgent calls. The clinking of coins, the faint brushing of cloth, the whisper of baskets being lifted and set down, all combine to form a symphony that is uniquely Parisian. It is not a music of grandeur, but of intimacy, a melody composed of small, deliberate motions that together create a sense of rhythm and continuity. Here, every gesture, no matter how minor, carries weight, a testament to the care embedded in the everyday. Shoppers stroll among the stalls, their steps unhurried, eyes attentive. Mothers hold their children's hands, pausing to examine a peach or to inhale the fragrant scent of lavender. Artisans stop to select materials for their craft, considering texture, color, and scent with tender deliberation. Even the children, who dart curiously between legs and baskets, seem to absorb the gentle flow of the day, their laughter soft, echoing lightly against the walls and cobblestones. Every interaction, every glance, every exchanged word contributes to the delicate choreography of life unfolding in the marketplace. The marketplace is alive not with chaos, but with subtle, layered harmonies. A young baker leans over a stall, dusting flour lightly on a bread, sending a faint cloud into the air that catches the sunlight in tiny golden sparks. Nearby, a fishmonger arranges his catch with care, the glint of scales reflecting soft light like scattered jewels. Herbs and flowers are placed with gentle intention, their colors contrasting and complementing one another in ways almost imperceptible, yet profoundly beautiful. Observing this, one realizes that Paris, even in its busiest corners, moves with a grace that is easy to miss if not witnessed slowly, patiently, with awareness. As the city hums around the market, the same glimmers in the distance, a silent companion to the dance of commerce. Boats drift lazily beneath the sunlight, their movement mirrored in the soft ripples of the water, a reminder that life, even in motion, can be serene. Vendors pause to sip coffee, exchange quiet greetings, or laugh softly at a child's curiosity, and the entire space seems to breathe, expanding and contracting like a living organism attuned to the pulse of its people. Here, Paris is not just a city of stone and mortar, but a canvas of human experience, painted with tender gestures, careful observation, and the gentle energy of shared lives. Even amidst the gentle bustle, there are moments of stillness. A pigeon lands softly atop a cart, pecking at crumbs unnoticed by busy shoppers. The sun casts fleeting shadows across the stalls, creating pockets of shade where the eye rests and the mind slows. These small pauses, though subtle, give rhythm to the flow of life, a breathing space within the steady hum of commerce. In the marketplace, history is tangible, not in monuments, battles, or politics, but in the artistry of everyday life, in the way people move, work, and care for one another within the delicate architecture of routine. And so, as the marketplace continues its quiet symphony, we linger with it, absorbing the colors, sounds, and aromas as though they are a gentle lullaby. The city's pulse is alive but tender, each individual contributing a note to the soft melody of mid-morning Paris. And as the sun rises higher, scattering its golden light across the stalls and streets, we follow the rhythm further, ready to explore the intimate stories, the whispered dramas, and the quiet harmonies that compose the very soul of the marketplace, guiding us forward into the heart of Parisian life. The marketplace hums steadily now, a living tapestry of scent, color, and gentle sound. Each stall tells a quiet story, every merchant a soft note in the city's unfolding melody. A woman arranges bundles of lavender, her fingers brushing lightly against the stems as if to coax fragrance into the morning air. A baker slides a tray of warm croissants across a counter, their golden tops catching the sunlight, releasing a faint, comforting aroma that drifts lazily toward the cobblestones. Each gesture, each breath, feels deliberate yet unhurried, like a dance learned over generations, echoing the patient rhythm of Paris itself. Children weave through the legs of shoppers, their curiosity a delicate thread tying the market together. Some pause to watch a shoemaker tap nails into leather with gentle precision. Others tilt their heads toward a painter sketching fleeting scenes of daily life. Their laughter, soft and fleeting, carries lightly, blending with the murmur of voices, the rustle of fabric, and the faint scrape of wooden wheels along stone. These small, seemingly ordinary sounds coalesce into a subtle symphony, a reminder that history is not always in grand events, but in the tender choreography of ordinary lives unfolding with care and attention. Vendors exchange quiet greetings, their voices melodic in tone, never harsh, always measured. The fishmonger arranges his catch, each scale glinting softly under the sun, while the fruit seller aligns apples, pears, and peaches in gentle gradients of color. The marketplace is alive with intention. The brush of a hand, the tilt of a basket, the slight lean of a body as goods are offered. Each movement is part of a larger, intricate pattern, weaving people, objects, and light together in a moment of serene harmony. One can almost feel the invisible threads connecting the individuals here, a tapestry of care, patience, and quiet connection that defines the essence of Parisian life. Amidst the hum of commerce, there are moments of pause that reveal the city's tender beauty. A cat slips silently between legs, its soft paws making no sound, a fleeting observer to the gentle rhythm of human activity. Sunlight spills through gaps in the buildings, illuminating the dust particles in the air, giving the space a dreamlike quality, as if the marketplace itself were a soft painting brought to life. Patrons and vendors alike seem to exist within this suspended harmony, their movements deliberate, their awareness tuned to the subtle energies around them. Here, life is not hurried. It is lived with attention, with softness, with a quiet understanding of the preciousness of each passing moment. The scents of the market mingle in the air, the faint sweetness of ripe fruit, the earthiness of freshly gathered vegetables, the delicate aroma of herbs, and the warm, comforting fragrance of bread still cooling on wooden trays. Every breath taken in this environment is a meditation, an invitation to slow down and absorb the richness of ordinary life. And as shoppers move from stall to stall, touching, selecting, exchanging, and occasionally pausing to speak softly to a neighbor, the marketplace becomes a microcosm of the city itself, alive, attentive, graceful, and endlessly human. And so, as mid-morning passes, the marketplace continues its gentle symphony, full of sound and motion, yet never harsh or overwhelming. Children linger, learning the cadence of commerce, the art of observation, and the subtle beauty of interaction. Merchants move with careful attention, aware that each gesture contributes to a shared rhythm larger than themselves. And above it all, the Seine glimmers in the distance, a quiet witness to the delicate, persistent life of the city. As the sun rises higher, scattering its golden light over stalls, baskets, and cobblestones, we pause with the city, letting the gentle harmony of mid-morning linger in our minds. The marketplace is not merely a place of trade. It is a stage for human connection, a quiet celebration of ordinary life rendered extraordinary through attention, care, and quiet intention. And as we prepare to move further into the day, following Paris through its courtyards, workshops, and intimate spaces, we carry with us the soft, enduring melody of the marketplace, a reminder that even in the hum of activity, life's most profound poetry often whispers quietly, waiting to be heard. The marketplace now hums with a fuller, yet still gentle, rhythm. Every movement, every whisper, every soft clink of coin seems deliberate, forming an intricate ballet of lives quietly intersecting. A young boy pauses at a stall, mesmerized by the glimmering surfaces of polished apples. The vendor, noticing his wonder, leans down slightly and offers one with a soft, encouraging smile. The boy's eyes brighten, and he accepts the gift with a shy nod. It is a small act, almost imperceptible in the larger ebb and flow of the city, yet it carries warmth, connection, and a reminder of the human tenderness that weaves the city together. Nearby, a seamstress examines a bolt of silk, running her fingers over its surface as if to read the story it holds. Her client waits patiently, a soft murmur of conversation passing between them, each word measured, gentle, and intentional. Around them, baskets of herbs release their fragrances into the sunlight, the mingling scents forming a delicate aroma that floats lazily through the streets. The subtle layering of these moments, the careful handling of goods, the soft words shared, the quiet gestures of respect and attention, creates a rhythm that is both calming and immersive, drawing the observer deeper into the heartbeat of Parisian life. Children, their curiosity undimmed, move between stalls, sometimes stopping to watch the small dramas unfolding before them. A young girl follows the movements of a blacksmith, fascinated by the gentle hammering of glowing metal, while a boy lingers near a baker, watching the careful folding of dough into golden pastries. Their laughter and whispered questions add delicate notes to the marketplace's symphony, mingling seamlessly with the soft calls of vendors, the rustle of fabrics, and the muted clatter of carts on stone. Each tiny interaction is a story, a fragment of daily life that, when observed slowly, reveals the quiet poetry of human existence. Even the architecture of the market participates in this gentle dance. Wooden stalls, painted in muted hues, lean slightly into each other, creating sheltered pockets where light and shadow play softly across baskets of fruit and bundles of herbs. The cobblestones, worn smooth by centuries of footsteps, reflect sunlight unevenly, giving the streets a shifting mosaic of warm tones. Small courtyards peek through alleyways, revealing glimpses of domestic life. Women arranging laundry, children chasing one another, a man pausing to sip a cooling cup of coffee. These subtle details, though easily overlooked, are the heartbeat of Paris, a city alive not with spectacle, but with attentive, deliberate care in every gesture. A soft breeze drifts through the streets, carrying the mingled aromas and the faint sound of the same beyond. It lifts a few petals from a flower stall, sending them spinning gently toward the cobblestones, where they are caught briefly in a child's gaze before floating away again. These small, almost imperceptible moments feel significant, as if the city itself is reminding those who linger to notice, to breathe, and to appreciate the delicate harmony of everyday life. It is in these details, the soft brushing of fingers over ripe peaches, the gentle exchange of coins, the quiet laughter of children, that Paris reveals its true character, patient, enduring, and quietly magical. And so, as mid-morning flows toward the softer light of noon, the marketplace continues its subtle symphony, full of motion yet serene, intricate yet calming. Every vendor, every child, every passerby contributes a note to this delicate composition, forming a gentle rhythm that invites reflection and quiet observation. The city is alive, not with grandeur, but with the poetry of ordinary life, each moment unfolding like a soft, deliberate verse in a story told over centuries. Vendors exchange quiet greetings, their voices melodic in tone, never harsh, always measured. The fishmonger arranges his catch, each scale glinting softly under the sun, while the fruit seller aligns apples, pears, and peaches in gentle gradients of color. The marketplace is alive with intention. The brush of a hand, the tilt of a basket, the slight lean of a body as goods are offered. Each movement is part of a larger, intricate pattern, weaving people, objects, and light together in a moment of serene harmony. One can almost feel the invisible threads connecting the individuals here, a tapestry of care, patience, and quiet connection that defines the essence of Parisian life. Amidst the hum of commerce, there are moments of pause that reveal the city's tender beauty. A cat slips silently between legs, its soft paws making no sound, a fleeting observer to the gentle rhythm of human activity. Sunlight spills through gaps in the buildings, illuminating the dust particles in the air, giving the space a dreamlike quality, as if the marketplace itself were a soft painting brought to life. Patrons and vendors alike seem to exist within this suspended harmony, their movements deliberate, their awareness tuned to the subtle energies around them. Here, life is not hurried. It is lived with attention, with softness, with a quiet understanding of the preciousness of each passing moment. The scents of the market mingle in the air, the faint sweetness of ripe fruit, the earthiness of freshly gathered vegetables, the delicate aroma of herbs, and the warm, comforting fragrance of bread still cooling on wooden trays. Every breath taken in this environment is a meditation, an invitation to slow down and absorb the richness of ordinary life. And as shoppers move from stall to stall, touching, selecting, exchanging, and occasionally pausing to speak softly to a neighbor, the marketplace becomes a microcosm of the city itself, alive, attentive, graceful, and endlessly human. And so, as mid-morning passes, The marketplace continues its gentle symphony, full of sound and motion, yet never harsh or overwhelming. Children linger, learning the cadence of commerce, the art of observation, and the subtle beauty of interaction. Merchants move with careful attention, aware that each gesture contributes to a shared rhythm larger than themselves. And above it all, the Seine glimmers in the distance, a quiet witness to the delicate, persistent life of the city. As the sun rises higher, scattering its golden light over stalls, baskets, and cobblestones, we pause with the city, letting the gentle harmony of mid-morning linger in our minds. The marketplace is not merely a place of trade. It is a stage for human connection, a quiet celebration of ordinary life rendered extraordinary through attention, care, and quiet intention. And as we prepare to move further into the day, following Paris through its courtyards, workshops, and intimate spaces, we carry with us the soft, enduring melody of the marketplace, a reminder that even in the hum of activity, life's most profound poetry often whispers quietly, waiting to be heard. The marketplace now hums with a fuller, yet still gentle, rhythm. Every movement, every whisper, every soft clink of coin seems deliberate, forming an intricate ballet of lives quietly intersecting. A young boy pauses at a stall, mesmerized by the glimmering surfaces of polished apples. The vendor, noticing his wonder, leans down slightly and offers one with a soft, encouraging smile. The boy's eyes brighten, and he accepts the gift with a shy nod. It is a small act, almost imperceptible in the larger ebb and flow of the city, yet it carries warmth, connection, and a reminder of the human tenderness that weaves the city together. Nearby, a seamstress examines a bolt of silk, running her fingers over its surface as if to read the story it holds. Her client waits patiently, a soft murmur of conversation passing between them, each word measured, gentle, and intentional. Around them, baskets of herbs release their fragrances into the sunlight, the mingling scents forming a delicate aroma that floats lazily through the streets. The subtle layering of these moments, the careful handling of goods, the soft words shared, the quiet gestures of respect and attention, creates a rhythm that is both calming and immersive, drawing the observer deeper into the heartbeat of Parisian life. Children, their curiosity undimmed, move between stalls, sometimes stopping to watch the small dramas unfolding before them. A young girl follows the movements of a blacksmith, fascinated by the gentle hammering of glowing metal, while a boy lingers near a baker, watching the careful folding of dough into golden pastries. Their laughter and whispered questions add delicate notes to the marketplace's symphony, mingling seamlessly with the soft calls of vendors, the rustle of fabrics, and the muted clatter of carts on stone. Each tiny interaction is a story, a fragment of daily life that, when observed slowly, reveals the quiet poetry of human existence. Even the architecture of the market participates in this gentle dance. Wooden stalls, painted in muted hues, lean slightly into each other, creating sheltered pockets where light and shadow play softly across baskets of fruit and bundles of herbs. The cobblestones, worn smooth by centuries of footsteps, reflect sunlight unevenly, giving the streets a shifting mosaic of warm tones. Small courtyards peek through alleyways, revealing glimpses of domestic life. Women arranging laundry, children chasing one another, a man pausing to sip a cooling cup of coffee. These subtle details, though easily overlooked, are the heartbeat of Paris, a city alive not with spectacle, but with attentive, deliberate care in every gesture. A soft breeze drifts through the streets, carrying the mingled aromas and the faint sound of the Seine beyond. It lifts a few petals from a flower stall, sending them spinning gently toward the cobblestones, where they are caught briefly in a child's gaze before floating away again. These small, almost imperceptible moments feel significant, as if the city itself is reminding those who linger to notice, to breathe, and to appreciate the delicate harmony of everyday life. It is in these details, the soft brushing of fingers over ripe peaches, the gentle exchange of coins, the quiet laughter of children, that Paris reveals its true character, patient, enduring, and quietly magical. And so, as mid-morning flows toward the softer light of noon, the marketplace continues its subtle symphony, full of motion yet serene, intricate yet calming. Every vendor, every child, every passerby contributes a note to this delicate composition, forming a gentle rhythm that invites reflection and quiet observation. The city is alive, not with grandeur, but with the poetry of ordinary life, each moment unfolding like a soft, deliberate verse in a story told over centuries. Reflective melody. The Seine shimmers faintly in the distance, a silent witness to the lives that have passed through the day's gentle rhythm. The city, in this moment, is both alive and restful, vibrant yet soothing, a perfect balance of motion and stillness. And in the quiet of this early afternoon, we find the essence of Paris, attentive, enduring, tender, and profoundly human. And so, as the marketplace settles and the streets begin to empty, we follow the city into the calmer spaces of late afternoon, where courtyards, workshops, and narrow alleys continue their quiet rhythm. Life in Paris flows gently here, in soft gestures, muted sounds, and reflective moments, preparing us for the next chapter of the day, where the city's heart beats in even quieter, more intimate ways. As the day drifts gently into the early afternoon, the streets of Paris gradually yield to quieter spaces, hidden courtyards, narrow alleys, and shadowed archways that cradle life in delicate repose. The marketplace's gentle symphony has softened into a distant murmur, leaving room for the subtler, more intimate rhythms of daily existence. Here, life slows, allowing each gesture, each glance, and each whispered word to emerge with the weight and grace of quiet significance. Courtyards tucked between stone buildings reveal their own hidden poetry. Laundry sways softly on lines strung between balconies, catching the sunlight in muted, fluttering patterns. Women move slowly, arranging linens or adjusting flower pots, their hands careful, deliberate, and tender. The faint scent of herbs, mixed with the warmth of sunlit stone, drifts into the air, carrying a subtle promise of calm and continuity. Children play quietly in shaded corners, their laughter a soft, melodic echo that seems to reverberate only for those who pause to notice. Every motion, every sound, every soft interaction contributes to a hidden rhythm, a gentle pulse that beats quietly beneath the surface of the city. Artisans and tradespeople also find refuge in these courtyards, where the intimacy of space allows for focus and care. A shoemaker taps nails into leather with rhythmic precision, the sound soft yet deliberate, blending seamlessly with the faint rustle of fabric and the quiet hum of conversation. A painter sits near a window, brush moving slowly across canvas, capturing the light that filters through narrow streets and overworn stones. Each gesture, no matter how small, becomes part of the courtyard song, a melody composed of attention, patience, and the subtle artistry of ordinary life. Even the architecture seems to participate in this gentle symphony. Archways frame scenes of domestic activity, like living paintings, and balconies with wrought iron railings offer glimpses of life unfolding above the streets. Sunlight dapples the cobblestones below, shifting and changing as clouds drift lazily across the sky. Shadows stretch and bend gently, moving like whispers across the stone, tracing the contours of windows, doorways, and moss-streaked walls. The city here feels intimate, protective, almost secretive, holding stories that are revealed only to those who slow their pace and open their senses to the quiet beauty of everyday moments. Children move quietly through these spaces, pausing to inspect a stray flower, follow the flutter of a bird, or peek at a cat prowling between crates. Their small gestures are imbued with curiosity and wonder, a tender reflection of the way the city itself observes life. Mothers watch with soft smiles, their eyes reflecting both care and quiet pride, while neighbors exchange whispers, brief glances, and fleeting touches of hands in greeting. These connections, though subtle, create a web of human intimacy that is at once delicate and enduring, a reminder that the extraordinary often resides in the ordinary, carefully observed and gently lived. The afternoon sun, now beginning its descent, filters through narrow gaps between buildings, casting long, warm shafts of light across courtyard floors. Dust motes rise lazily in this glow, suspended as if for a moment in time, catching the eye and inviting stillness. The faint sounds of distant streets, the murmur of the Seine, and the occasional call of a bird create a soft background, a gentle accompaniment to the quiet choreography of courtyard life. In this suspended, luminous calm, Paris shows itself not in grandeur or spectacle, but in the measured poetry of human gestures, small connections, and subtle observation. And so, as the early afternoon unfolds in these hidden spaces, we pause with the city, letting the soft rhythm of courtyards, narrow alleys, and shadowed corners carry us gently forward. Every gesture, every glance, every quiet sound becomes a note in the delicate melody of Parisian life. And as the day moves toward the deeper warmth of late afternoon, we follow the subtle pulse of the city, ready to witness whispered stories, private moments, and the intimate poetry that thrives away from the main streets. The courtyards of Paris, tucked away like hidden treasures, hold their own gentle rhythm, a quiet pulse that moves slower than the streets beyond. Sunlight filters softly through narrow spaces between buildings, casting long, warm lines across worn cobblestones. Every shadow, every flicker of light, seems deliberate, as if the city itself were orchestrating a soft, intricate dance. The air carries the subtle scents of herbs, warm stone, and faint traces of bread from a distant bakery, blending into a comforting, almost hypnotic aroma that wraps the senses in calm. Women move slowly through these courtyards, their hands deftly tending to flowers, adjusting laundry, or arranging small household items. Their gestures are careful, deliberate, almost meditative, and each action contributes to the soft rhythm of daily life. Neighbors exchange low murmurs, their voices gentle, melodic, a language of quiet connection that binds the community together without disturbance or urgency. In these interactions, there's an unspoken elegance, a shared understanding that life unfolds most gracefully when observed, appreciated, and attended to with care. Children, still curious and quietly energetic, navigate these spaces with measured steps. They pause to watch a blacksmith adjust his tools or to observe the faint glint of sunlight on a painter's canvas. Their laughter, though soft, carries a melodic clarity, echoing lightly against the stone walls and creating tiny ripples of joy within the intimate courtyard environment. Every gesture, from the tilt of a head to the brushing of hands along a flower, contributes to the delicate harmony of the day, a reminder that the poetry of life is often found in these small, unassuming moments. Artisans work in quiet corners, focused yet unhurried. A seamstress folds fabrics with meticulous care, her fingers tracing each thread as if reading a story written within. A woodworker smooths a plank, the soft scrape of sandpaper echoing faintly against the stone walls. Even the smallest acts, when observed in this gentle light, take on a sense of ceremony, a recognition that ordinary labor is itself a form of quiet artistry. The courtyard becomes a sanctuary where attention, patience, and subtle skill are elevated into something profoundly human and deeply beautiful. Above, balconies frame glimpses of life happening quietly at home. A mother rocks her infant, whispering lullabies into the warm afternoon air. A young scholar traces letters in a notebook, fingers moving carefully across paper, while nearby, a poet sketches scenes of courtyard life, capturing fleeting expressions, gestures, and the play of light on surfaces. Every window, every railing, every shadowed corner seems alive with observation, a testament to the human impulse to record, understand, and participate in the quiet poetry of existence. And as the afternoon sun continues its slow descent, the courtyards themselves seem to exhale, releasing a soft warmth that lingers on stone, in the air, and in the hearts of those who pause to witness. The distant hum of the Seine, the occasional flapping of laundry, and the faint murmur of conversations beyond narrow walls form a gentle, hypnotic soundtrack, allowing the mind to settle and absorb the grace of ordinary moments. In these spaces, Paris is not monumental, not loud, but deeply alive, whispering its stories through gestures, scents, and soft, intimate rhythms. And so, as the day moves gradually toward later afternoon, we follow the city's pulse through these secret corners, observing the tender interplay of light, shadow, and human presence. Every glance, every careful action, every whisper of the wind through the alleyways contributes to the narrative of daily life. And as the sun tilts lower, we are guided deeper into the soft, reflective moments that make the courtyards of Paris a world apart. Intimate, enduring, and quietly unforgettable. As the sun begins its slow descent, the light in the courtyard softens, painting the stone walls and worn cobblestones in warm, golden hues. Shadows stretch longer, draping gently across benches, flower pots, and baskets, as if the city itself is drawing a soft curtain across the day. The sounds of life mellow, the earlier hum of voices fades into a whisper, and footsteps fall with a gentle cadence, measured and intentional. In this golden light, Paris reveals a quieter, more reflective side, one that is attentive, intimate, and deeply human. In the hidden corners of these courtyards, women move with a calm rhythm, arranging flowers, adjusting linens, or pausing to speak softly with neighbors. Each movement is deliberate yet gentle, a choreography of care and attention that has been repeated countless times across generations. Their voices carry the soft resonance of experience, murmured advice, or tender greetings that float lightly on the warm afternoon air. In these small, deliberate gestures, life feels sustained by patience and grace, each act echoing the enduring pulse of the city. Children play quietly in shaded nooks, chasing shadows or following the flight of a bird across sunlit walls. Their laughter is muted yet melodic, a delicate addition to the courtyard's soft symphony. Sometimes a child pauses to watch an artisan's work, a painter brushing a canvas, a seamstress folding fabric, or a blacksmith tapping gently on a metal hinge. Each small observation, each fleeting moment of curiosity is part of a larger rhythm, a subtle lesson in attentiveness, wonder, and the poetry of ordinary life. Artisans continue their work with quiet focus. The seamstress's fingers trace the edges of delicate fabric. The painter captures the glow of late sunlight filtering through a narrow alley. The woodworker smooths a plank, each motion measured and exact. In these private spaces, skill and care merge into art, transforming simple labor into something enduring and beautiful. The courtyard becomes a sanctuary where effort and intention coexist with tranquility, and where the ordinary acts of life are rendered quietly extraordinary. Above, balconies frame glimpses of domestic life. A mother leans over a railing to call softly to a child. A scholar traces letters on a page in dappled sunlight, and a poet pauses to study the interplay of light and shadow across a courtyard wall. Even the smallest gestures, stretching a hand to adjust a basket, inhaling the scent of herbs, pausing mid-step to watch sunlight shimmer on stone, carry weight here, composing a slow, meditative narrative that flows gently across the hidden spaces of the city. As late afternoon settles fully, the city exhales, leaving a serene, almost hypnotic calm in its wake. The distant murmur of the Seine threads softly through the courtyards, carrying whispers of wind and water, blending with the faint rustle of leaves and soft footsteps. Time feels suspended, as if each moment has been stretched to allow reflection, observation, and quiet immersion in the poetry of life. It is here, in these whispered interludes, that Paris reveals the depth of its character, patient, tender, and endlessly human. And so, as the light fades toward early evening, we pause in the gentle glow of the courtyards, letting the warmth of sun, shadow, and human presence settle softly around us. Each glance, each gesture, each quiet sound is a note in the city's tender symphony, guiding us forward into the reflective calm of late afternoon. And as Paris prepares to shift from the private intimacy of courtyards into the muted rhythm of approaching evening, we follow, ready to witness the final chapters of daily life in this hidden, poetic world. As early evening settles over Paris, the golden light of late afternoon softens into a gentle amber glow, wrapping the courtyards in a quiet, tender warmth. Shadows stretch and melt into one another, tracing the curves of balconies, the edges of flower pots, and the worn cobblestones below. The city exhales slowly, its earlier rhythms fading into a delicate hum, leaving room for reflection, observation, and the subtle poetry of daily life. In this moment, every gesture, every sound, every breath feels significant, as if the world itself has paused to allow time to be noticed, savored, and remembered. Women continue their quiet tasks, their movements deliberate yet effortless. They fold laundry with care, adjust baskets of herbs, or pause to speak softly with a neighbor. Each gesture carries the weight of attention and tenderness, transforming the ordinary into something quietly profound. The air carries the faint scents of herbs, fresh bread from a distant bakery, and the subtle fragrance of flowers, blending into a comforting, almost hypnotic perfume that drifts gently through the courtyards. Every small detail, the rustle of fabric, the tilt of a hand, the soft step of a child, is part of a larger rhythm, a living story of attentiveness and care. Children, sensing the shift in light and pace, slow their movements. They wander between shadows, chase the play of sunlight on walls, or pause to watch the delicate flutter of birds overhead. Their laughter, now soft and fleeting, blends seamlessly with the distant murmur of the Seine, the faint rustle of leaves, and the quiet chatter of adults. Each interaction, each glance, each tender observation becomes a note in the evening's gentle melody, a reminder that life's significance is often found in moments of quiet presence and intimate connection. Artisans and tradespeople, too, move with a reflective grace. The seamstress folds her fabrics with meticulous care, the painter captures the fading glow on canvas, and the woodworker smooths the last plank for the day, each action deliberate, rhythmic, and meditative. In these private spaces, effort merges with artistry, and routine becomes ritual. The courtyards themselves seem to respond, absorbing the sounds, gestures, and scents, reflecting them softly back into the air as a lullaby of human presence and enduring life. Above, balconies frame private vignettes. A mother leans to watch her child, a scholar studies the last lines of a letter, and a poet gazes quietly at the interplay of shadow and light. Even in these fleeting glimpses, there's a profound intimacy, a shared understanding that life, at its most delicate, is woven from small, attentive gestures. Time slows, inviting pause, reflection, and gentle immersion in the poetry of daily existence. And as early evening deepens, the courtyards breathe a quiet rhythm, soft yet persistent, blending the warmth of sun-washed stone with the muted voices and subtle motions of those who inhabit them. Every sound, every movement, every gentle shift of light contributes to the enduring, hypnotic melody of Parisian life. And so, as the day gradually moves toward the hush of late evening, we linger with the city, carrying forward the calm, intimate stories of courtyards and alleys, preparing to follow Paris into the quiet, reflective serenity of night. As the sun dips lower and the amber glow fades into dusky blues, the courtyards of Paris sink into a quiet, reflective calm. The soft warmth of day gives way to the gentle coolness of evening, and shadows stretch long, embracing walls, benches, and the worn cobblestones like a tender, protective cloak. The distant murmur of the Seine threads softly through the air, blending with the faint rustle of leaves, the whisper of a breeze, and the occasional, delicate footstep of someone moving slowly home. In this stillness, the city seems to breathe, carrying centuries of quiet life, memory, and human connection within each subtle movement. The last chores of the day are completed with unhurried care. Women fold laundry one final time, adjusting lines and baskets with delicate attention. Flower pots are arranged to catch the evening light, their subtle fragrances mingling with the cool air, weaving a comforting, hypnotic perfume throughout the courtyards. Even the children, who have spent the day chasing sunlight and shadows, now sit or wander quietly, tracing a stone, watching a bird settle on a ledge, or following the faint flicker of a candle in a window. Every gesture is small, yet in its quietness lies a profound sense of being fully present, fully alive. Artisans close their work for the day with careful reflection. The seamstress smooths the edges of her fabric. The painter lifts her brush one last time to capture the fading light, and the woodworker wipes down his tools, the soft scrape of cloth on wood echoing gently in the courtyard. These moments, subtle and almost imperceptible, are the heartbeat of Parisian life. Rituals of care and attention that transform ordinary labor into quiet art, ordinary spaces into sacred ones. The courtyards themselves seem to hum softly, carrying the accumulated energy of the day and folding it into the gentle rhythm of evening. Above, balconies reveal intimate vignettes. A mother tucks her child into bed, whispering lullabies. A scholar traces the final words on a page, savoring each stroke. A poet gazes at the interplay of light and shadow, committing the fleeting moments of courtyard life to memory. Even the smallest gestures, a hand brushing a flower, a soft sigh, a gentle nod, contribute to the poetry of the city. Time here stretches, allowing reflection, observation, and quiet absorption of life subtleties. Every sound, every movement, every fleeting flicker of light becomes part of the evening's tender symphony. As darkness deepens, lanterns and candles flicker softly, casting pools of warm light that mingle with the shadows. The air cools, carrying with it the faint scent of the river and the muted aroma of the day's remaining bread and herbs. Courtyards become intimate theaters of soft light and gentle motion, where life slows to a reflective pace. The city whispers its stories not through grandeur, but through subtle, persistent rhythms, delicate connections, and tender gestures. And in this calm, we sense the enduring heartbeat of Paris, alive, attentive, and profoundly human. And so, as night gently embraces the courtyards, we linger in their quiet glow, letting the soft poetry of late afternoon and early evening settle around us. Every gesture, every glance, every whispered sound is a note in the delicate symphony of life, guiding us forward with patience, reflection, and quiet wonder. And as darkness deepens, we prepare to follow Paris into the serene, hypnotic hush of night, ready to witness the city's final stories, whispered softly under the moonlight.